the summer began in its usual rush. My husband left suddenly again, just a couple of days, he muttered, pressing a quick kiss to my temple and slamming the trunk shut. I nodded. I didn't ask questions anymore. Years of marriage had taught me that when he left, I had to become strong again. Patient. Predictable. It was hot at the Dacha. The kind of heat that sticks to your skin and slows your thoughts. We were left just the three of us, me, my 15-year-old son, and his childhood friend, Artyom. They've known each other forever. I remember when he used to call me ma'am with a shy glance. Now he simply said my name. Looked longer. Spoke deeper. As if this summer had carved something new in him. At first, I didn't pay attention. The days blurred together, lazy breakfasts on the porch, boys laughing in the garden, cool water splashing bare feet. I read old novels, listened to the buzz of cicadas, waited for the sun to sink. But the boredom, thick, slow like honey, began seeping into my skin. And then came the glances. Not direct. Soft, lingering. I pretended not to notice, catching them from the corner of my eye. But inside me, something flickered. Something I hadn't felt in years. Something I shouldn't have felt. One day I sat swinging, eating an apricot. He walked up, just to ask where the charger was. But his voice was lower. His eyes brushed over my ankle, my hand, my collarbone. And for the first time in forever, I felt it, I was alive. Not just a wife. Not just a mother. A woman. Seen. It felt like a gust of wind from another world. Terrifying, and thrilling. From that moment on, even the air felt heavier. And it wasn't just the summer heat anymore. I'll take a short pause. Let me know in the comments where you're listening from, and if anything similar has ever happened in your life, even a fleeting glance or a moment that made your heart skip. I'd love to read your thoughts. And if this story resonates with you, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Now, I continue. I still can't tell exactly when it all began. It wasn't just one moment, one look. It built up slowly, like summer heat, gentle at first, then stifling, and eventually, nearly unbearable. Everything looked innocent enough. The three of us often sat together in the kitchen. I'd slice watermelon, the boys would laugh, someone's hand might brush against mine by accident. Harmless things, at least on the surface. But I noticed. I felt how the air between us shifted. How Artyom's gaze lingered. Longer than it should. And how I didn't look away. There were times we ended up alone. My son would take his bike out and leave behind a silence that wasn't just peaceful, it pulsed with something unsaid. That evening, everything felt unusually calm. My son came back tired from fishing and fell asleep early. Artyom and I stayed outside in the gazebo, unintentionally, or maybe not. The leaves rustled lazily, the scent of dry grass hung in the air, and neither of us made a move to leave. We talked, first about nothing. Then about everything. Fears. Dreams. Longings. He listened to me the way no one had in a long time. And I spoke, softly, barely looking at him, letting my guard drop without realizing. He moved closer. I could feel his breath. The warmth of his skin. I knew, I should have stopped it right there. But I didn't. First, a brush of fingers. Like reaching for something that wasn't quite there. Then a hand, resting longer than necessary. And then came the kind of game you can't walk away from without losing something. We could blame the moment. The night. The heat. But deep down, we both knew, this was not a coincidence. Not just a flirtation. I walked back to the house later than usual. Barefoot, the grass cool beneath me, my heart pounding not in my chest, but somewhere deeper. And the silence of that night felt far too loud. The morning seemed just like the others, slow, warm, filled with the scent of coffee and sun through thin curtains. But something inside me had changed. It was no longer still. It was buzzing, sharp and silent. Artyom acted differently. Quieter, but with eyes that held a shared truth. He didn't touch me. He didn't speak of what had happened. But his silence said everything. And I tried to act normal. I tried to be who I had always been. But deep inside, I was unraveling. Then, just after noon, the front door slammed. My husband. Standing there, suitcase in hand, dusty shirt, tired grin. "Surprise," he said with that familiar voice, stepping into the kitchen as if nothing had changed. As if there hadn't been nights of glances, tension, and almost whispers. He kissed my cheek. I smiled. Automatically. I boiled water. Set the table. Poured tea. My hands moved with practiced ease, but my mind was racing, screaming, "Does he feel it? Does he know?" Artyom passed through the room like a shadow. He nodded, briefly. That was all. No lingering look. No signal. He disappeared for the rest of the day, as if cutting the invisible thread between us with one quiet gesture. That evening, we had dinner, just the three of us. My husband. My son. Me. From the outside, it looked perfect. But I knew the truth. I was sitting between the past and something far too alive to ignore. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay beside my husband, listening to his steady breathing, his words lost in dreams. And I thought, if he ever finds out, he'll leave. But if he doesn't, maybe I will. Because I'm no longer the same. The Dacha was no longer just a house. It had become the place where I remembered what it felt like to be seen, not as a wife, not as a mother, but simply as a woman. And in that, there was both freedom and sorrow. Let me know in the comments what you think about this story. Have you ever experienced something that quietly stepped beyond the ordinary? Your thoughts and honesty mean a lot to me. I read every message and truly value each of you. If you connect with the atmosphere of my stories, hit subscribe and like, so you don't miss the next gripping episodes. Wishing you a peaceful, meaningful, and honest day. If you made it to the end, write this phrase in the comments: "Some feelings can't be hidden." That's how I'll know you stayed with me until the last word.